Your mind is your prison, and the key. You wake up every morning in the same body, in the same room, under the same sky, yet something inside you feels trapped, like you're living behind invisible walls that no one else can see. Walls made not of iron or stone, but of thoughts you didn't consciously choose. Fears you never agreed to carry, and stories about who you are that feel so familiar, you stopped questioning them. And maybe the most unsettling part isn't that you feel stuck. It's that you can't quite explain why. Because, from the outside, your life may look fine, functional, even successful. But inside, there is tension, a quiet suffocation, a sense that you are living in a mental room that keeps getting smaller. Now, ask yourself this. And be honest, what if the prison you're trying to escape is also the place where the key has been hidden all along? But here's what no one tells you. The mind is a strange thing. It can be your greatest ally or your most convincing jailer. And the terrifying truth is this. Most people never realize they re-imprison it because the bars feel like normality. Carl Jung believed that the greatest dangers to human freedom were not external forces, but unconscious ones. According to Carl Jung, the mind doesn't just think, it hides. It bodies fear, trauma, desire, and shame deep beneath awareness, where they quietly shape our decisions, reactions, and identity. He famously said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate." Think about that for a moment. How many of your choices are truly yours? And how many are automatic responses learned long ago? The mind builds prisons slowly, one belief at a time, one repeated thought at a time, one unexamined assumption layered upon another. I'm not good enough. This is just who I am. It's too late for me. People like me don't get more. Each thought feels harmless alone. Together, they form walls. And the cruelest part is that the mind doesn't lock you in with force. It convinces you there's nowhere else to go. Viktor Frankl understood this from the darkest place imaginable. As a survivor of Nazi concentration camps, Viktor Frankl witnessed extreme physical imprisonment. Yet what fascinated him most was how some people remained internally free, even when everything external was taken from them. He observed that when a person loses meaning, they collapse inward, regardless of circumstance. But when meaning survives, even suffering cannot destroy the soul. Frankl wrote, between stimulus and response, there is a space. In that space is our power to choose our response. In our response lies our growth and our freedom. That space, that pause, is the crack in the prison wall. Most people live without ever noticing it. They react instead of respond. They repeat instead of reflect. They obeyed thoughts as if they were commands. But the moment you notice the space, the cell begins to unlock. Napoleon Hill approached this from a different angle, not through suffering, but through mental discipline. He believed that thoughts are not passive events, but forces that shape reality. According to Napoleon Hill, the mind becomes a prison when it is left undirected, drifting from fear to distraction to doubt, absorbing the beliefs of society without resistance. He wrote that self-limitation is the most destructive habit of all. And here's the paradox. The same mind that creates fear also creates focus. The same mind that builds limitation also builds vision. The key is not to destroy the mind, but to master it. And mastery begins with awareness. Alan Watts took this idea even further. He suggested that the greatest prison of all is the illusion of the separate self, the idea that you are a fragile, isolated identity struggling against the world. According to Alan Watts, most suffering arises because we mistake our thoughts for reality and our labels for truth. We say, I am anxious, instead of anxiety is passing through me. We say, I am broken, instead of I am becoming. Watts argued that when you observe the mind instead of identifying with it, something remarkable happens. The walls dissolve. You realize you were never trapped, only hypnotized. Think about this for a moment. Have you ever noticed that the moment you stop fighting a thought, it loses power? The moment you stop believing every story your mind tells, space opens. That space is freedom. Friedrich Nietzsche believed that most people live in mental cages, built by fear of rejection and fear of responsibility. He warned that comfort, conformity, and obedience to inherited values weaken the spirit. Nietzsche believed that becoming who you truly are requires breaking internal chains, not external ones. He wrote, "The individual has always had to struggle to keep from being overwhelmed by the tribe." And today, the tribe isn't just society, it's the voice in your head repeating what society taught you. Be realistic. Don't try too hard. Stay safe. Don't risk being seen. But Nietzsche challenged us to ask a dangerous question. What kind of life is possible when fear is no longer because the prison only exists as long as you keep asking permission to be free. Here's the truth that's uncomfortable to face. Your mind imprisons you not because it hates you, but because it's trying to protect you. Fear once kept you safe. Doubt once prevented pain. Limitation once felt like survival. But what once protected you may now be suffocating you. And the key is not force, not aggression, not self-judgment. The key is awareness. The moment you notice a thought, without obeying it, you step closer to the door. The moment you question a belief instead of accepting it, the lock weakens. The moment you choose meaning over fear, the walls begin to crack. Freedom is not a sudden escape. It is a quiet remembering. A remembering that you are not your thoughts. You are not your past. You are not the story you learned to survive. You are the awareness that can observe all of it. And that awareness. So ask yourself this, not once, but often. Which thoughts am I living inside of? Which beliefs am I mistaking for truth? Which fears am I calling reality? Because the door has always been there. Not outside you, not in the future, but here now, within the space between thought and choice. And when you finally step through it, you don't escape your life. You begin to live it. If this message spoke to you, subscribe to Becoming You and keep growing with us. And if you watched until the end, comment the word freedom below and share what this realization meant for you. Your mind was never just the prison, it was always the key.